Curative Culture by Douglas K. Shaw. Audiobook summary. Think back to your worst job. Not the one that bored you, but the one that drained you. The one where the Sunday night dread kicked in like clockwork. The one that left you second-guessing yourself in meetings, grinding your teeth at night, and wondering how something as basic as work could feel so personal. You weren't just tired. You were bruised. Now here's the kicker. If you're a manager or team leader, you may be unintentionally recreating that environment for someone else, not because you're a bad leader, but because toxicity is sneaky. It hides behind results, gets masked by busyness, and often looks like what we were taught to accept as normal. Most advice about workplace culture aims low. Be positive, avoid burnout, have better communication. But what if the goal isn't just avoiding harm, but creating something that actually helps people heal? That's what curative culture is about. It's the difference between neutral and nourishing. It's what happens when a workplace doesn't just keep people from burning out, it helps them come back to life. If you lead people, especially in mission-driven or high-performance settings, this idea could change how you work. Because healing isn't just a personal thing, it's a leadership strategy. And it might be the edge your team's been missing. Number 1. Toxic workplaces are everywhere, and we're more affected than we think. Toxic workplaces are so common that most people don't even realize they're in one until they leave. That's part of the danger. Toxicity hides in plain sight. It's not just about bad bosses or high-pressure environments. It's the slow erosion of trust, dignity, and psychological safety. It's that knot in your stomach as you step into the office, the chronic tension headaches, the feeling of walking on eggshells. It's the place where people smile less, quit more, and stop believing their work matters. What's shocking is just how many people accept it as normal. Ask a room of average employees to raise a hand if they've never worked in a toxic workplace. Chances are, you won't see many hands in the air. That normalization is a problem. In mission-driven organizations especially, leaders and teams often tolerate dysfunction because the cause is noble. They work long hours, accept chaos, and excuse bad behavior because the mission is worth it. But the damage builds. People start doubting themselves. They wonder if they're too sensitive or not tough enough. Even strong leaders can lose their footing in toxic environments. They shrink, they second-guess, and their confidence quietly erodes. This isn't just about stress, it's about spiritual bruising. And there's no way of sugarcoating it. You might be part of the problem and not even know it. Toxicity isn't always loud. It can be subtle. Favoritism, silence, constant urgency, or a values mismatch. Many leaders inherited toxic norms or were shaped by them. What's normal for you might be hurting your team. Recognizing toxicity takes courage and honesty. It also requires listening, not just to your people, but to yourself. Are you dreading Monday morning? Are you always on edge? Those are signs. So are high turnover, lack of feedback, and a fear of making mistakes. These are warning lights flashing on your dashboard. Don't ignore them. A team doesn't need to be dysfunctional to be toxic. It just needs to lack care. As a leader, your influence shapes the atmosphere, not perfectly, but powerfully. People reflect the emotional tone you set. If they're constantly in defense mode, innovation, collaboration, and trust will wither. It's time to stop calling not bad good enough. Avoiding toxicity isn't the same as building health. The real opportunity and challenge is to create something that goes far beyond safe. That's where curative culture begins. Number 2, healthy workplaces aren't enough. We need ones that heal. Most workplace advice focuses on creating healthy or positive environments. That sounds great, but for teams that have been bruised by burnout, ignored by leadership, or stuck in chronic dysfunction, healthy doesn't go far enough. What they need is healing. What they need is a curative culture. A curative culture is more than just good vibes or team-building events. It's a workplace that actively restores people. It helps them recover from the harm they've carried in from previous jobs, or maybe even from your job before it changed. Because the truth is, people bring baggage with them. And if a workplace doesn't make room for healing, that baggage leaks into everything. So what does healing look like in the real world? It's a manager who names hard truths instead of dodging them. It's a culture where people can say, "I made a mistake," without fear of humiliation. It's when a team lifts someone up after a failure instead of burying them in it. That's not softness, it's strength. A curative culture starts with values, not the ones on your website, the ones people feel when they walk through the door. If your values include respect and care, then they have to show up in how you lead performance reviews, manage conflict, and handle setbacks. Culture is the soul of the organization, and it's revealed in the smallest moments. How you answer an email, how you give feedback, how you treat someone having a rough week. There's a false choice that says you can either be kind or be high-performing. Curative cultures reject that. They're deeply committed to excellence, but they get there through care, not pressure. When people feel safe and seen, they take risks, they speak up, they stretch farther. Curative doesn't mean easy. It means worth it. Healing isn't fast, but when you make space for it, people stay. They give more than expected. They start reflecting your values back to you, not because they've been trained to, but because they believe in them. And that's when you know something powerful is happening. Don't just aim for neutral. Don't settle for, "We're not toxic." Build a workplace where people leave better than they came in. That's curative culture. And that's how you create a team that lasts. Number 3, the best leaders care first, serve second, and perform third. Leadership isn't about power, it's about service. And in curative cultures, the best leaders lead like hosts. They see their role as creating space for others to thrive. They don't fix people, they don't rescue them, but they do honor them, their effort, their presence, their humanness. Think of your team not as employees, but as volunteers, not in terms of pay, but in terms of motivation. People choose to give their best work. They don't owe it to you. They offer it freely when they feel trusted, respected, and inspired. Curative cultures understand this, and they act accordingly. That's where servant leadership comes in. It's a serious leadership model built on values. And in a curative culture, values aren't decorative. They drive every decision. They answer the question, how does it feel to work here? A strong mission tells people what you do. Clear goals show them where you're going. But values? Values tell them who they are allowed to be on the journey. Servant leaders don't avoid accountability. They don't lower the bar. But they do set a tone that says, we do hard things, and we do them together. That tone builds psychological safety, especially across differences. When you're leading someone you don't click with, look to your values, not your gut, for guidance. Ask, am I acting with integrity? Am I offering encouragement where I'd usually stay silent? Am I showing up the way I'd want someone to show up for me? Often, the most healing thing a leader can do is pay attention and then act on what they see. Small acts go a long way. A handwritten note, public praise for quiet wins, a follow-up after a tough week. These are not expensive, but they're priceless. They signal care. And in curative cultures, care is the soil in which performance grows. When care and clarity walk hand in hand, people rise to the occasion. They want to win, not just for themselves, but for the team. That's the paradox. Lead through service and you get performance. Skip the care, and all the KPIs in the world won't save you. You don't need to be everyone's therapist, but you do need to be their steward. And that starts with seeing each person as made in the image of something greater. Number 4, high performance thrives when safety is the standard. There's a myth that excellence comes from pressure, that people do their best work when the stakes are high and the expectations higher. But the truth is, people thrive in environments where psychological safety is the norm, not the exception. In curative cultures, safety doesn't mean comfort. It means clarity. It means people know where they stand, what's expected, and that failure won't define them. When that's in place, they stop playing defense and start creating. Metrics still matter. In fact, they matter more. But they're framed by values. So instead of obsessing over numbers alone, curative leaders ask, what are the numbers telling us about our people? If turnover is up, why? If productivity is down, what's behind it? Watch the small signals. Are employees quoting your values back to you? Are they holding each other to the standards you've set? Are people staying longer and growing faster? That's culture speaking. A healing workplace isn't loose. It's disciplined in the right ways. Clear standards, thoughtful onboarding, feedback that lifts rather than shames. These are the quiet structures that hold people steady. Accountability isn't the opposite of compassion. It's what gives compassion power. When expectations are paired with support, people step up. And when leaders show consistency in how they apply rules, trust builds. Consider a team where one person consistently dominates meetings. In many environments, that behavior is ignored until it becomes a real problem. In a curative culture, someone names it early, respectfully but clearly, because they know every voice matters. That moment sends a message. We protect each other's dignity and our shared standards. Another sticky example. A high-performing sales rep misses their target for the first time. Instead of being sidelined or quietly punished, they're pulled into a one-on-one and asked, "What support do you need to get back on track?" That question alone is healing. It says, "We believe in you. We've got your back. Let's go again." A curative culture doesn't just protect against burnout, it actually boosts engagement. When people feel seen and safe, they take more initiative, they push for better, and they do it not out of fear, but pride. The result? Excellence that sustains. Not a sprint, but a steady climb. Not a culture of urgency, but one of rhythm and results. In a curative culture, leaders don't have to choose between caring for people and demanding great work. Those things go hand in hand. Because when people know you care, they care too. About the mission, about each other, and about the work. Number 5. Curative culture is hard work, but it's the only work that lasts. Building a curative culture isn't easy. It requires energy, honesty, and constant vigilance. But the payoff is enormous, not just in morale, but in metrics. Better retention, stronger performance, higher profits, and most of all, a team that actually wants to be there. The hardest part is going first. Leaders have to own the culture they create, even the parts that aren't working. That means examining your blind spots. Do you value profit over people? Have you ignored signs of dysfunction because performance looks fine on paper? It also means committing to the long game. Culture doesn't shift overnight. It changes through steady, repeated action, through rituals that reinforce values, through hard conversations handled with grace, through celebrating not just what was done, but how it was done. Think of culture like a garden. It needs weeding, it needs water, and it grows best when the sun of encouragement is shining. Neglect it, and weeds will win. Nurture it, and it will bear fruit. Here's an example. A leader decides to start each Monday meeting by recognizing one act of integrity, courage, or kindness from the previous week. At first, it feels forced, but within 2 months, team members begin nominating each other. Culture shifts quietly. People pay more attention to how they work, not just what they deliver. Or picture this. A mid-level manager discovers that her team is quietly struggling with burnout. Instead of pushing through the next product launch, she advocates for a strategic pause, not to rest, but to reset. They spend 2 days off-site redesigning workflows and revisiting their team charter. Output dips slightly in the short term, but within 3 months, performance is up, engagement is high, and nobody's quietly job hunting anymore. When your culture is curative, your team starts to transform. People bring their full selves to work. They recover from past hurts. They stop hiding behind roles and start showing up as humans. That's when the magic happens. This isn't about making everyone happy. It's about making everyone whole. And when people are whole, they work smarter, stay longer, and give more. Not because they have to, because they want to. That's the power of a curative culture. It heals what's broken, it lifts what's heavy, and it builds something that no amount of money alone can buy. A workplace people believe in. So yes, it's hard work, but it's the only work that truly lasts. Conclusion. In this summary to Curative Culture by Douglas K. Shaw, you've learned that toxicity hides in plain sight and slowly erodes trust, dignity, and team confidence. Most people normalize it without realizing the damage. A curative culture doesn't just prevent harm, it actively restores people and strengthens performance. It's built on deep care, clear values, and servant leadership. When safety becomes the standard and leaders go first, teams flourish. Healing becomes a strategy. People stay, grow, and give their best because they feel seen. Okay, that's it for this summary. We hope you enjoyed it. If you can, please like this video and subscribe for upcoming summaries. Thank you.